it's easier. So welcome everybody. We've come now to the end of another Restoring Balance 7-week course, and myself and Kay there have really just been noticing what's been happening for people, and a lot of the stuff that has been coming up and is coming back in feedback. So there are therapists who've been using this who found that it may use a technique as a cornerstone, but it really lifts their experience as therapists to the next level. Other people are saying that it's helping them to design their own practice for personal use. And there have been quite a few ways that these people have expressed how this has helped them to understand who they are, helping them to heal and helping them to move forward with their lives. And I'm just going to sort of let Kay take over here because she has a personal take on this.
Yeah, well, I can only really go on my own personal experience, but also that's been confirmed by the feedback that we've had from people who've done the course so far. So, and it's interesting because often you'll be asked, what are the benefits? What tangible benefits do you get from doing this kind of work? And I mean, where do I start? I mean, you feel freer in your body, so less tension, number one. And obviously in line with, we talked about Wilhelm Reich in the first talk that we did. You know, Wilhelm Reich believed that when you loosened muscular tension, it freed up repressed emotional material and repressed memory, so that you can access it, express it safely and integrate it. And I have to say that that has been my experience of doing this work, and it's been confirmed by the other people who've done it too. Is that memories come up, feelings come up, and as a result new perspectives and greater wholeness, because you can then integrate that stuff. Yeah, just for me personally, I mean, I've been doing it for a number of years, but yeah, I feel freer physically. There were chronic patterns of tension in my body that don't have the same hold on me as they did. I've worked through a lot of those, and the corresponding kind of psychological and emotional stuff that came up as that tension was being released. One of the things I found for me was that I had a tendency to kind of, when I was triggered, I would have a tendency to overthink and go into a kind of overthinking, anxious state. That's very much reduced. And the people who've done the course have kind of confirmed that, said the same thing. I think one of the symptoms actually of a dysregulated nervous system is overthinking. You're over amplified. And you get into loops, patterns of thinking that are very hard to break. Yeah. So I think this kind of work can do that too. So yeah, just greater wholeness.
Yeah, I
calmer, think, less obsessive thoughts, less overthinking, freer in your body, more grounded, more able to be present for people and things in your life too.
Yeah, I think that from my aspect to that, from a more technical aspect, is what we're working with there is the window of tolerance within a nervous system. You said it yourself that, you know, a dysregulated nervous system can actually create a whole host of problems, which you outlined.
It's almost like you have a small window of tolerance in that state, and as you heal and as you integrate more, your window of tolerance becomes much bigger. So you can handle more stress.
Yeah, but as the client said, as the participants said to me, one of the things that came up for them is with the ideas and the concepts around both chakras and Reich, is that they understood the power their childhoods and what had happened in their childhoods that formed the characters, how that was still holding many of the people still in thrall at that particular time, and how that we use techniques like breathwork to access and build resilience within the nervous system. But if I was to ask you one simple question, if somebody was to take one technique, one simple technique, and use it to begin this process of opening up and creating this space for them to explore the potential for healing, what technique do you think that would be?
I would say, well, there's a core concept in the work that we do and in body psychotherapy generally, which is the concept of FeltSense, which in very, very simple terms means the connection that you have with your body, your awareness of your body. Shall I talk a bit about FeltSense and where that comes from? So FeltSense is a term that was coined by a philosopher called Eugene Gendling, I think in the sort of 1950s, 1960s. I can't be too sure about that. But in the 21st century, he wasn't a therapist. He was a philosopher, and he was doing research on therapies and the variables that affected the outcome of therapy. So he looked at things like the type of therapy, he looked at the training of the therapist, he looked at various variables in the therapy that might make a difference as to how successful or not the therapy is. And what he found was that none of the variables he looked at had any significant impact on the success of the therapy, but there was one factor that seemed to make a big difference, and that was the ability of the client to reference their feelings in their body. And he coined the term FeltSense to describe this awareness, to describe this level of consciousness. So in very, very simple terms, what FeltSense means is that you are aware of your body. And of course, many, many people in our culture are not aware of their body. We tend to live above the neck, and perceive ourselves and the world through this. And yeah, FeltSense is about swapping that around so that this becomes less dominant, and you start thinking. What I actually find it interesting. It kind of ties in with the idea that your gut is kind of the second brain, and my perception is when you do this work, you start thinking with your gut brain instead of this one here. Your gut brain becomes more dominant, and I think it's your gut brain that gives you FeltSense. It's the intelligence of your body that you start to tune into, and this becomes much quieter. And that's what I've found most definitely for myself. And it's such a simple concept. It's like, it's a form of mindfulness that's very, very simple to achieve through breathing. So I would say actually the second technique or the second thing is breathing, because breathing instantly puts you in touch with your FeltSense.
So what I think though that we may discuss the second technique in a later video. I think for now that
breathing.
Yeah. So I'd say that if you're interested in joining us, our next one starts on the 19th of March 2022. You can drop as an email. We'll put it at the back of this video. And I hope you enjoyed our talk there, and I hope you begin to investigate FeltSense, because really these days being in contact and expressing and feeling what is happening within your body is very important. So I'm going to say goodbye from me.
Bye.
Bye.